Today is Humanitarian Day, World Humanitarian Day, right? So we're here. Yeah, so on the official website of the United Nations, it said, we are paying special tribute to the real-life heroes who have committed their lives to helping others in the most extreme circumstances throughout the world. And one of the most extreme circumstances the world is facing right now is the COVID-19 pandemic. The new coronavirus has caused countless of deaths and injuries throughout the world, and it even changed our way of living. We started to wear masks. We started to stay home because the government says it. The impact is so huge that it can be called the Third World War. It's a crisis of humanitarianism, and is caused by an invisible source. Speaking of disasters caused by invisible source, there's another happened in Lebanon. Because of the ignorance of the government, a large number of explosives accumulated in the port, and it blew up, just like the war, and made countless of Lebanese people homeless. It even destroyed hospitals, making more of the wounded and emergency patients unable to receive timely help. It's a crisis of humanitarianism. Now I'm a fourth grade medical student. We need to be trained for about 10 years to be able to save patients, but only one at a time. And what's happening to the world right now is tens of thousands of casualties at a time. The hospital just cannot afford this, and in Lebanon case, the hospital was even destroyed. So as an eminent doctor, the first line of Declaration of Geneva goes, as a member of the medical profession, I will dedicate my life to the service of humanity. And I joined a group practicing humanity in an efficient and effective way. That is Tai Chi Men. Tai Chi Men has committed to helping the world moving towards a peaceful and sustainable future. Facing the COVID-19 pandemic, Tai Chi Men Qigong Academy adheres to the concept of prevention is better than cure and provided simple 5 do's and 3 don'ts prevention tips. The 3 don'ts are don't get angry, don't worry, and don't be anxious. And the 5 do's are wash your hands frequently, drink more warm water, do more exercise, be happy, and be more careful, with a view to promote the health of the world people's body and mind and help them face the severe COVID-19 pandemic. And since February 8, 2020, we have published a full section of advices on fighting against COVID-19 on newspaper. The advice collects the best practices from scholars and experts, including doctors, nurses, psychologists, under the guidance of Dr. Hong Daozi, 掌门人 of Tai Chi Men. A total of 22 editions have been published with 65 professionals contributing their words of advices. Many volunteers, including Tai Chi Men's brothers and sisters, distributed the papers to the village and township chiefs. The message has been sent 344.8 billion times in paper and electronic forms around the world, hoping to end the pandemic. Taiwan is fortunate to hold on to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is also fortunate not to suffer from severe natural disasters. But, there is another disaster caused by invisible source occurred in Taiwan. Let me share you the horrifying statistics. There are about 24 million people living in Taiwan. And as for last year, there were about 11 million cases of enforcement of arrears of tax and fees. So there are in average about 1 in 2 people who is facing the enforcement. This number is far more terrifying than the COVID-19 pandemic. This is the crisis of humanitarianism. In Taiwan, the illegal prosecutor, National Taxation Bureau, and the Administrative Enforcement Agency they have made Taiwanese people who have finally caught their breath from the COVID-19 pandemic still live in the extreme circumstance of the tax crisis. Many innocent Taiwanese people have suffered for no reason. The most obvious example of this is Tai Chi Men, the group that dedicated to the realization of humanitarianism that I mentioned earlier. It has been 24 years, and the day after tomorrow, Taiwan's enforcement agency is even going to illegally auction off Tai Chi Men's land for the second time. It has severely deprived property and survival rights of Tai Chi Men. It trampled on it trampled on Taiwan's rule of law. It endangered the lives and property of the entire Taiwanese people. And it even shamed the free, democratic Taiwan reputation in the world. In Taiwan, officials who violate the law swallow and nibble people's property for a long time. And in Tai Chi Men case, 24 years. 24 years. That's ridiculous. I'm only 21. It's like cancer cell spread everywhere, making Taiwan's rule of law a serious illness. So I also want to ask here, how long should we allow these officials continue to blatantly violate the law and human rights in Taiwan? Everyone should be aware of this, and everyone should do something for this. So like me, I take to the street, I drove propaganda car, and even spoke on propaganda car to draw everybody's attention to the issue of law and tax, just like what we have done in successfully counteract COVID-19 pandemic, facing this kind of disaster, the disaster that is caused by invisible source. Only when everyone is aware of this will we be safely go through this kind of crisis. And Tai Chi Men case is not a single case. It affects the human rights and future development of all people in Taiwan. Taiwan's pandemic prevention results depend on the effort of all people in Taiwan. So Taiwan's rule of law system must be guarded by all people too. As a medical student, I'm willing to try my best to save patients. But now, I'm more willing to stand up and tell more people about the crimes committed by illegal officials that endanger the future of Taiwan and call for severely punish these crimes. Because only by decisively remove this malignant tumor of Taiwan can all people stay away from the lie of fear and save more people. And this is the best way to practice humanitarianism right now. Thank you, everybody.